English or Spanish, the Swiss edition.
El primero que se mueva es gay.
Oh my. This is the best version I've ever seen of the English. Yourself. No way. I was randomly on the streets the other day, like just pointing at people saying English or Spanish, and it was really funny to see the people that knew the reference because they'd be walking and they would just freeze right there. Love that the Swiss respond with French to English or Spanish. Basically, he says whoever moves first is gay, but the video subtitles are in French. Nice detail there. So that explains why Switzerland literally did nothing for like 200 years. Just they were completely frozen. They have to be winning this game, right? They've literally just been completely frozen while everyone else in Europe has been going nuts. Now it makes sense. Love the emoji version of this meme. Thank you for that, RB Universe TV. The country with no official flag.
Kingdom. It's blue, white, and lime green.
What?
No, you aren't colorblind, and no, this isn't a printing error. It's just that the UK has never had a law that defines what the flag should actually look like. The United States flag is described by...
I mean, even our code is not like super detailed.
...federal statute, but the UK just uses this flag because of tradition. In 1801, King George III proclaimed that it was his pleasure that the flag would be blue with red crosses, but that's not a law, which means that if enough of us decided to just use this lime green version, it would only be a matter of time before this was the official version hanging in front of Buckingham Palace.
Well, I think we all know what we need to do now.
Doing a series to find the design loopholes in every country's flag. Like Canada's very strict about the red color and the size of the square and that the maple leaf has to be centered, but I don't see any text in the law about the size of the maple leaf, so I
or the
hereby
aspect ratios. A lot. I mean, some flags obviously do have regulated aspect ratios, but others it's more gray.
With the new, totally official flag of Canada.
Very nice. Looks beautiful. This also could be considered an official American flag since we don't really regulate that the stars have to be aligned or that the stripes are equal or that, you know, the blue is over here. To be fair, I don't think the US government ever anticipated flag nerds on the internet like me ready to just like, oh, there's nothing that says that I can't do this. Very nice magnified. Berlin in 1945.
You could glue an open jar of rats to his face, then blowtorch the other side of the jar so the rats have to eat their way out through his face.
Poland?
201.
Okay, now he has an additional one. Thank you for that, Poland. Polish forces actually participated in the Battle of Berlin, helping the USSR against Germany. Well, they weren't happy, obviously, with what happened, the Poles. And even though the USSR willingly participated in the fourth partition of Poland with the no-no Germans, keep in mind, literally the whole country was occupied by just the Germans after Operation Barbarossa, when the Germans invaded the Soviet Union. So they had this way more freshly in their mind. They were gonna get their revenge, even if it meant teaming up with the Soviet Union at that time. Poland got no chill. Thanks, China Ball. Can you guess the age of this Chinese map?
It's in Chinese.
Oh, the map is in Chinese, but it's a world map. Okay, thank goodness. I don't think. If it was just a map of China, there's no way I'd be able to date this.
I don't speak, so can I still crack it? Let's start with the basics. There's no South Sudan, so it must be before 2011. And the border between Russia and these Eastern European countries definitely indicates...
I wish the map was like, I don't know if it's just because I'm on desktop, but the resolution's really hard to see. I can barely make this out. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do this because I can't even see the map.
This is post the Soviet breakup. Now, normally I'd look to the Balkans to figure out more information, but this image is really poor quality, so I had to go with my backup plan. Flags, which were all at the bottom.
Okay. There's the image itself is bad.
Map.
Oh, the flags are at the bottom of the map.
Especially helpful. Afghanistan's gone through a ton of flags over its history, but it wasn't until 2002 that it had anything even remotely resembling this. Next up, check out the flag of Ethiopia. Compared with the modern flag, it sure seems like that inner circle is way brighter than it should be. Well, that's because this isn't the modern flag, but the flag before 2009. This flag of Lesotho only started being flown in 2006.
That's a hard find to see, because look at the saturation on this image. Like, it's really, really bad, clearly.
And finally, if we compare the modern flag of Iraq with this flag, it sure seems like the text on the flag is going farther left.
Yeah, I love dating maps when you have, like, flags for reference, because you really can get to, like, the nitty-gritty details, like, by the month of exactly when this map was made for.
Right than it does on the modern flag. Well, that's because this isn't the modern flag, but the flag from before 2008. So altogether, I think I managed to narrow down the date of this map to a roughly 15-month time span. If you think I missed something, especially if you speak Chinese, please let me know.
Nice. The only like fear I have when it comes to this game of like dating maps, which I love to do. Sounds weird, dating maps, I love to do. I'm always kind of paranoid that they made a mistake possibly. Like maybe they took Europe in 1864, but then they referenced the US in like 1865 when things were really different. But when you're talking about that time period, you know, news got around very slowly. It was just like, you know, the printing press, newspaper. I'm always concerned that there's just an actual error on the map. I don't know how often that happened though. Being able to tell the flag's small dot of blue changing hue on a crusty old map is crazy. Linguistic nerd? Nah, how about geography nerd? That's what I'm all about. And so is Human1011. Thank you for that. Countries' flags are confusing. We have Slovakia and Slovenia. That's not even just flags. That's literally their names. Which, while we're on the topic of confusing S countries, there's Sweden and Switzerland. I know that we probably don't make that mistake, but a lot of normies do. What else do we have? We have Indonesia and Monaco, Ireland and the Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire. There's Romania and Chad. They're literally the exact same. Yeah, countries and flags get extremely confusing. Don't even get me started on the rabbit hole of just red and white flags. There is far too many. I mean, these ones are identical too, but I mean, just look at this. We have to force all of them to change this up. Anything. Throw a coat of arms on there. Throw a watermark or something. I don't know. Union Jacket. We have to stop this. What is this? And then because I have flag dyslexia, I always get these two confused. I think I finally got it down because the orange is on the left. That's Africa. I don't really have like a saying or a slogan on how I remember it. I think I just remember it. More than likely, I probably actually make this mistake still, but whatever. I want to believe I got it down now. And yeah, no doubt, I am still confusing these two to this day. And this is literally what my job is. I just look at flags all day. Thank you for that. I don't want to pronounce your name wrong. Very nice.
What
Entire world attacks the USA.
Firstly, we need to set out some clear rules.
I'm assuming we're not using
all
nukes.
All countries must join the war. 2, no country can leave the war. 3, no nukes. Even if all countries on the globe attack the U.S., we will mainly talk about the top 15 militaries of the world, plus the U.S.'s neighbors. Canada.
Yes, geography is immediately what I'm thinking about. Like, I'm sorry, Canada, but I think you're gonna get wiped out literally immediately. There's more people in the state of California than there is in all of Canada. Then once that's done, we could set our sights on Mexico. Mexico's gonna be a little bit harder, though. Not only does this country have way more people, but they have the topography of, like, Afghanistan, which has in the past obviously been problematic for us. So if the entire world can just get to the Mexican coastline and support this country, like troops and resources and technology and all that stuff, then maybe. But then we have to start thinking about the U.S. Navy. I'm sure that's going to come up in this video.
Plus the U.S.'s neighbors, Canada and Mexico. In purely numerical terms, the U.S. would be outnumbered by the world's force of over 20 million soldiers, 20,000 aircraft, 40,000 tanks, and 3,000 ships. However, war isn't just about numbers. When logistics come into play, the world would struggle to defeat the U.S. in a naval battle or achieve air superiority. The U.S. can also rely on natural defenses by guarding its borders with Mexico and Canada, with the scorching desert in the south.
That's assuming that we're going to just sit back and hermit. I think we would probably go on the offensive, like I said, take out Canada real quick.
And heavily forested areas plus the Great Lakes in the north. An alternative and better strategy for the world to defeat the U.S. would be to disrupt their trade, causing the country to collapse from within.
Yeah, I mean, basically go like castle siege status, cut us off from the outside world until we burn from the inside. I feel like the world outnumbering the U.S. isn't really going to be that much of a factor. I mean, you still have to give all these people weapons, which is unlikely. Also, don't forget how much more aircraft carriers we have over others. I guess if you combine all these, it does equal 11. Wow, this would be a really interesting match. It's definitely only a matter of time before we lose. It's pretty much inevitable, but it'd be interesting to see how long we could survive. Thank you, Matt Marvels. Why was the Confederacy doomed to lose?
Civil War? First of all, the Union had over twice the population the Confederacy had.
Yes, also they got immediately embargoed, which I was literally just thinking about the U.S. Civil War when we were talking about the entire world versus the U.S. It was cut off from literally everyone. I feel like the Confederacy just really needed to hope that someone would come save them from Europe. Maybe the British or the French would want to help them, which obviously that did not happen.
To produce massive amounts of guns, cannons, ships, ammo, and other war materials.
The manufacturing.
The Union also had more railroads to ship supplies and troops far more efficiently than the South, enabling quick military advances. They also had a way better navy and were able to blockade any trade into the Confederacy.
They didn't have anything,
starve them
really.
out of any supplies and exports.
It's some
Finally,
stuff, but
the North had around 70% of the nation's wealth and was in a way better position to fund the war for a long period of time. So although the South may have had better generals, the North was still destined to win in the end.
Again, the only thing I could think of is maybe they had to have just prayed the British for some reason wanted to get back at the US for the whole American Revolution thing. West Virginians are offended by that map, all 33 of them with internet. Oh yeah, they did include West Virginia, part of the Confederacy. Oof, that don't do that. 33 of them. But the fact the South even lasted for 4 years itself is pretty shocking. They might not have had a lot of things going for them, but they sure were stubborn. Nice analysis, history now. Please go subscribe to all these channels, good stuff. Big ol' thanks to my patrons. Drew's Argentinian grandpa. Lucas, the Canadian Goose from Avoca.
Drew har förvisats från Sverige för brottet att vara dans.
Amateur Archaeology. Sarsath. Carmel S. DaBeautiful-MEGAN. Fredrik Tibblin. Your dad back with the milk. Look out, InquisitorXarius. Sebby, if you hear this, Tambre.